Back to European LCS Summer Split, where Vitality are looking to force a Game 3 against the Unicorns of Love. Now, just a quick reminder, we'll be starting our broadcast at 5 p.m. Central European Summertime from tomorrow, and when we have those Sunday games, like next week. And tomorrow we'll start with H2K versus the Mysterious Monkeys.
That means our NA viewers can get an extra hour's sleep, or our Night Owl EU viewers can get an extra hour's sleep, depending on your schedule for yourself. 5 p.m. for some people is an early start.
Hey, some of our pro players, it might be middle of the day. That's lunchtime. No, but seriously, yes, Saturdays, Sundays when we have them 5 o'clock instead of 4 o'clock. That's the change. Stress, Unicorns of Love, they got side selection. They picked red side. We're about to jump into pick some bands. What do you think will change? Are we still going to see Xayah, Zach like we have a lot?
Yeah, I think we're going to still see a lot of the bands maintained. I'm excited to see what Vitality are going to do, actually, now. We saw an interesting style out of them, looking for 1-3-1, which did look very good at the beginning of the game. The opening was actually great for Vitality. So now as we look through the first few picks and bans, that's a band that I'm not too surprised to see in the Shen. Vitality saying we don't want Chachi on that.
All right, next one is an Ivern. Very targeted, of course. Reminder that on the side of red this split, or at least this week, we're expecting a couple of those priority picks. Syndra taken away, don't want that one to get in the hands of Nuke Duck. So Zach's still up, Xayah's still up. In actual fact, Rakan got banned in phase 2, which is a little bit of a surprise to us.
Yeah, I think we were talking about how it might be that secondary engage in the bottom lane where you don't want a champion that can protect an AD carry very well. And Vitality say, okay, we don't care about the meta, just get rid of what the Unicorns like to play here. And that has worked well for some teams. Braum was the champion Hylissang played. But remember, Malzahar was banned out in the last game. He may just default over towards that. The Lulu is there as well. There's a Rakan ban, because Unicorns don't want to have to pick Rakan themselves and don't want Vitality to get it if they first pick Xayah.
And we've already seen that Xayah has, in fact, lost. If Xayah gets locked in here, Samix just goes Caitlyn, is very comfortable.
Yeah. And that's why I think Elise or Zach may be the priority here. Maybe not the Zach, but Vitality may not want to put themselves in a lane that could be tough. I say that. They're going to play into the Caitlyn.
Now, Xerxes has played Zach before the rework. Yes!
Oh,
yes! Yes!
it's in.
I am so excited to cast Zach. The Unicorns of Love have gigantic smiles on their faces. And yes, just to go back to that, Xerxes has already played it twice this year. He won one game, he lost one game. It's even better than when he did it last time.
I think Unicorns now will last pick Caitlyn in this rotation, or it'll be banned away, but Vitality now need to put pressure on. Pick at least one solo lane here with something very, very solid that can actually compete. You compare a lot of supports with Xayah, but if you don't force Unicorns into a tough situation on their solo laners, they will take full control of this draft. And Vitality pick up Graves, who can farm alongside Zach, but has a completely different presence in teamfight. We'll get into it during the game, but Zach has insane potential in teamfights.
Yeah, to go back to that Graves pick very briefly, 5 games played for Joko. Only got himself 1 win on the champion. Of course, the team did place 4th in the spring split, so a number of reasons for that. Tahm Kench and Caitlyn, the last 2. Tom was also a champion that got banned out in phase 2, but it was by Vitality last time around. They've secured it for the bottom lane.
I feel like they missed a trick here, although it's not a champion that Cabo necessarily plays. Galio would have been a pick instead of the Tahm Kench to force the Unicorns of Love to give something up in favor of picking this Caitlyn, because with Shen already banned, there's only a couple of matchups that could do well into it. I would expect it to be banned out by Vitality here, because Chachi surely is going to pick Galio if available, and then they counter pick mid lane. There's a lot of options still there.
Yeah, I mean, with the Fiora banned away, that's one of the champions that has been run into it a number of times.
There goes Rumble.
Rumble's taken out top lane. They're very, very heavy focus. Solo laners are still up and available for both teams, and we need to see what they prioritize. Jarvan taken away.
So Gragas Galio is likely to be our top lane at this point. Looking at what is left available, I would anticipate the Galio is the way better pick. Like Galio, Zach, with a Caitlyn, this is near unkillable if this composition even remotely gets ahead.
What does Cabo want to run into Galio now? You mentioned the Gragas. We know he has played carries in the past. Admittedly, a lot of them are banned out that are good into Galio. There's a few seconds left to decide. Nuke Duck's gone Orianna.
There's not many matchups left that are available outside of carries. We've heard whispers of Yasuo in the top lane, but specifically into Galio, I'm not too sure. Bit Bit of a teasing on Nuke Duck there. I was expecting the Gragas to be the pick we were talking about. It's kind of a neutral lane where Gragas will always have presence when it comes to starting fights, but Galio sure as hell will make his presence known at ending fights, because he's unkillable in the grand entrance, just kind of crashes to the ground.
Now, Stress, with the last lock-in of LeBlanc, I am reminded of probably my second favorite team from the mid-season invitational.
Okay.
The Gigabyte Marines.
Okay.
And the reason I love them, the Zach LeBlanc engage. Get the Mimic down from the ultimate, send her forward, and let Galio jump onto a back line. Yes! Yeah. Galio jumping onto the LeBlanc clone. Let's see if the Unicorns can pull it off. If there's a team that can, it's going to be them.
But you've got a Zac that can do exactly the same thing as well. So there is so much potential for the Unicorns who love to get fights started. Vitality maybe with a little bit more of a consistent lineup from what we've seen in patches gone by. The Gragas should do fine. Orianna will basically always do okay. It's up to Steelback now on this side to maybe do a little bit more to get Nuke Duck later on into the game.
All right, Sheepy just forgetting his Death Note or his notebook on stage as he grabs that one to run off. The team comps are on your screens. I see gigantic team fights when I look at both of these team compositions, and I see 80 carries that want to be protected. The biggest flavor difference going to be in those mid laners where Exile's going to be looking to flank, and I feel Nuke Duck's going to be looking to stay central with the team.
Big difference from what Vitality were looking to do last game. If they have the same impact in the early game, maybe that's the platform that they can build to take down the Unicorns here in game 2.
Oh, let's see if they can. Vitality need a win here to force the decider. We're loading up onto the Rift with Zac in the jungle for your spring split rookie. Nuke Duck and Exile going toe-to-toe. Orianna versus LeBlanc. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get on the Rift for game 2.
Good save. So, Zac, why is Zac so strong? Well, Zac can still do everything he used to do, annoyingly entering mid lane through all these weird different paths that no other jungler can, but he now has better clear, he has a better teamfight presence in his ult. You see, he just spreads out a little bit like a trampoline and just pulls everybody wherever you want them to go. So this guy is a team-fighting machine. Oh, Cabo. Oh, Cabo. Oh, you've walked right into the trap.
This is terrifying. Cabo's going to place the ward down. The support is out. He's already flashed. Exile started E, though. That is important to note. Cabo's going to make his way through the jungle, taking Unicorns on a bit of a walk. Okay, so no summoner spell in the top lane. And Exile started with those chains. Not terrible on LeBlanc. We've seen that a couple times. And of course, he's going to be able to back away. It looks like Nuke Duck also got a ward, I expect. Yeah. Got one CS2's name. Didn't see where it was, though.
Yeah, I mean, we look at the last game. Nuke Duck's flash being down didn't hinder Vitality too much. There was a gank that went that way. But now Unicorns have themselves the Zac jungle, which can enter lane from a long distance. Obviously not that early on. You require a lot of levels in the Elastic Slingshot to have the big impact, the jumps that come from 2 screens away, but still have that impact of getting into lane early.
Oh, all of a sudden, Vitality, they fancy their shells a shot. Body slam onto Vizichachi. Both top laners missing flash. Vizichachi not going to get those winds of war down to help out Xerxes in the jungle, and Joko playing very, very forward.
Yeah, importantly, while Zac is good at clearing Raptors on his own in solo queue, it's still possible to do it in competitive, but if you get a little bit of help from the likes of a Galio, it speeds up your clear astronomically. However, Chachi now has to sacrifice some of his laning presence. Didn't opt to recall and TP, but just goes back into lane, uses 1 health potion, and sits in the top side.
All right, Hillisang playing into Steelback. The wave is pushing up Steelback, and Vander not going to get the advantageous position, likely going to miss out on level 2 here in the race, and instantly backing away the moment Hillian Samex do it. That's a flash for flash. Hillisang sending a message.
Hillisang has been a Thresh player for a very long time, and I'm excited to see him back on this champion. You can see what Unicorns were doing there, zoning away the Xayah, because her auto attacks cut through the minion wave and actually push very effectively. And it's difficult to race the Xayah to level 2 if you don't zone her away. So Unicorns very aggressive in the bottom lane, pushing back, steal back, and making sure they could secure themselves level 2 and the flash from the AD carry.
Yeah, very nicely done indeed. On your mini-map, you can see that Joko's making his way up into the top lane. He was involved in that first blood in game number 1 of the series. Looking to do this again, going underneath the tower, body slam, end of the line. Graphics team, I love you. Team first blood participation for Joko. That is now 20 out of 21. And his jungle proximity, 50%, spends a lot of time with his laners. That's why he helps out with first blood so often.
Yeah, easily converts that flash being down into the kill. And second game in a row that you're looking at it, Vitality getting their jungler very close to some of their lanes, but it works out very well here. And this is the Vitality we saw in game 1 that we were saying, hey, maybe this is what they needed. They've got a lineup that is contending in the early game. No longer are they the Vitality that did nothing the entire game.
Yeah, indeed. And Nukeduck's going to take a lot of damage from that Shatter Orb from Exile, but you know, Joko, you go back to his ability to help with first blood, secure first blood, work with a team for first blood. His problem was never the early game. His problem was always once you get to the mid game.
Right.
But that's also a team problem, right? I'm not pinning this on him. Vitality as a squad all throughout spring, they didn't really do a lot. They just kind of lost slowly. They weren't bad enough to get crushed, but they didn't seem to be good enough to grow, and that's what Yamato's going to need to change this split.
Not only Yamato, but Vander as well. He has a lot of experience helping to shot call on H2K. He was one of the big voices that we heard being talked about. But we had the question ourselves of, can you teach older players with perhaps bad habits on where to be on the map? Can you actually improve that from a coaching stance? And so far in the early game for Vitality, it seems to be working out, but they ran into a wall quite quickly in game 1 when Unicorns actually had an answer to that push.
And it was a couple of key mistakes between Vander and Steelback. Admittedly, some of them communication, some of them mechanical and positioning. Regardless, Unicorns of Love once again. They give up first blood to Vitality. Steelback gonna chase forward. It's a lot of damage down with that deadly plumage and those double daggers.
But that's why I like Caitlyn into Xayah. There's almost no kill pressure, but kill pressure mid lane there is for now, as Joko and Nukeduck looking for Exile.
Yeah, Exile's gonna use the distortion to safety, luckily for him. Wait to clear out that wave under the tower, and Death Sentence, that connects onto Vander. Vander's the man with the flash, remember, and it's the Tahm Kench. So you kind of have to focus him, force that grey health down.
Yeah, you can see just how far Unicorns are sitting back. Samux just lays out an auto attack once or twice, never really being touched until the jungler comes bot lane.
Well, very good positioning from Hilly. Connects with a Death Sentence as well as a teleport coming down from Chachi. Hylissang follows the Death Sentence, manages to Exile instantly exhausted and goes backwards. Vander uses the grey health and stays alive a few seconds longer. And he manages to walk away, but Unicorns with a 4-man stack, they've got the tower in sight.
Utilizing that TP from mid lane, we all thought it was Chachi for a moment, but then you realize it's a LeBlanc, and instantly the response comes from the exhaust. No exhaust this time.
Oh, Exile's got so much damage. Shatter Orb gets the kill. Unicorns on the board.
Unicorns maintain the presence with 4 people in the bot lane. It wasn't necessarily the Zac getting into the lane. It was utilizing just the sheer numbers advantage for the Unicorns to push that down. Vitality thought perhaps they could at least clear the wave behind the tower. Hook lands on Steelback, no flash, remember.
He gets pulled backwards onto a trap. Vander in the right spot at the right time, forced to pop that E. Now Samux running for his life. Nukeduck's got Shockwave, Flash, Cleanse, everything available. Nukeduck needs to nuke Hilly, sends out the Shockwave. It's flashed, and Unicorns survive.
Really tricky timing from the Unicorns. Hylissang's flash was available 1 second before that play actually came through. They were trying to buy as much additional space as they could on the Thresh Lantern. So Hylissang flashes, Lantern comes through, Samux gets out alive, dodges the gauntlet of the Shockwave, which was a nice attempt out of Nukeduck. That could very well have spelled the end of the Unicorns' AD carry. But now Nukeduck back in lane, has to face up against Exile.
Look at this! Exile's looking for the solo. May be able to get it. Flash Cleanse from Nukeduck. Summoner spells down after Nukeduck did so much work in the bottom lane. Exile is the guy we started talking about in the previous game, just showing up once more.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, everybody has put him behind Perkz and Febiven. At this point, in my eyes, second best mid laner is not too far out of reach for the title for him. Xerxes now trading. Oh, smashing to the blue buff.
Does indeed. Stretching strike onto Joko. You see the new rework catching the blue sentinel as well. Slamming the sentinel into Joko. We've not seen Zac at all, despite me literally jumping for joy when he got locked in. But we will see more of him Let's Bounce is available. Elastic Slingshot, that E starting to scale up. Look at it being charged. Remember, it's one of my favorite spell names. I like to yell. Stretching Strike, Minion, Death Sentence. Hilly sends his regards.
Unicorns able to utilize the Zac. Doesn't even matter that Zac landed in amongst the minions and didn't catch a champion. Just drags them together. Hulk Hogan style, smashes the heads and gets the first kill on that one. Nuke Duck down in the mid lane on Orianna. Now his blue buff's in trouble. We're still a minute before Rift Herald. This would be the opening where they could go over towards Rift Herald and look to crack that tower behind the Orianna.
Joko tried to steal the collateral, with collateral damage. Unable to do so. And Unicorns, they've just got themselves a bunch of kills. It's still a fairly close game, gold-wise. Stress, before we carry on talking about the game, quick reminder to everybody watching, the new Saturday and Sunday showtimes for ULCS is 5 p.m. Central European Summertime. It is no longer 4 p.m. like it was in the spring split. So tomorrow, you can check out H2K, Fnatic, NIP, and Mysterious Monkeys all taking to the Rift.
Some new teams taking to the Rift tomorrow, and some new champions in this game that I want to talk about. Steelback on this Xayah. The first of our AD carries taking Xayah to actually max E, which is quote-unquote the more conventional way that people are doing in solo queue. Now, what maxing E does, or at least putting a few extra points, reduces the cooldown of your ability to stun champions in skirmishes, and it gets down to 8 seconds at the highest rank before cooldown reduction. So if you can get a couple of stuns in team fights, you can catch people where they're really not expecting those feathers to be, and that's why Steelback is perhaps looking for this. We'll watch out for that as the first few fights of the game actually involve Xayah.
Yeah, and of course Steelback going to be under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, lots.
Zac, Galio, LeBlanc.
He's going to wish he had a lot of stuns.
Oh yes, a champion with no innate escapes or mobility spells. Yes, that ultimate, the Featherstorm will, at least delay the inevitable. But you land back down. Where Steelback needs to get devoured. Stepping forward, Hele Sang throws down the lantern. Samix takes a ride to farmland, unable to set anything else up. And Joko now coming around. Okay, we passed 10 minutes. It's still very close, very even tower damage. Pretty actual even for top and bottom lane, but it's in favor of UOL. They're shoving into Vitality over and over.
Casting our mind back to one of the last points of engagement, though, was Vitality pushing in the bottom lane, and out comes the TP. Well, look at what is nearly available for Exile. A couple of seconds away, there are wards in that bush, so if Vitality stray too far forward, they actually are just putting a pink ward down to clear that ward out. So doing their due diligence to deny Exile's ability to get down there. But that could be another opening for the Unicorns.
Yeah, it really can. Is it Shachi, if the fight breaks out anywhere in the jungle, going to be able to play forward. Hele Sang connects with the death sentence. Pulls Vander all the way backwards, and this looks just very, very easy. Ace in the hole going to get body blocked by Steelback as he's like, I got you, bro. Xerxes farming up a storm. Looking at the minimap, by the way, Chachi and Xerxes were setting up to flank Steelback. Remember, his flash was lost earlier in the 1v1. That would have been a very, very easy kill if it had landed.
As Xerxes building, obviously, towards the tank items on Zac, a lot of the tank items now that were introduced just have a lot of synergy. Gargoyle Stoneplate on this guy is ridiculous. You can end up having like 5-6k health. TP just came through from Cabo Shard. Exile caught him with the first chain.
It looked like he was trying to set up something onto Samix and Hilly. Cabo's going to be a little disappointed with how that worked out. Gets the little bonk onto Exile's head, and Exile easily able to use that plant to escape.
Disappointing set of TP advantage usage for Vitality. They had the TP up when Chachi didn't have his and couldn't get anything to work for them. They are going to push onto the bottom tower. They don't quite get Xerxes as he was recalling out.
So close. Xerxes could have at least bought a little bit of time with his ultimate ability. Anybody that listens to me cast Kled, you know how much I love Bear Trap on a rope. Let's Bounce is probably a close second for one of the most fun names. Exile gets chunked down by Nuke Duck. Vander's going to deliver Nuke Duck to help out defend this lane. But yeah, 12.5 minutes in. Tower First Blood was picked up by UOL, who was at least onset by Vitality, and it's just Unicorns with a small advantage at the moment.
Here's Zac from, here we go, where's the Let's Bounce?
Stretching Strike connects 1 and 2, Vander goes backwards, delivered by the Let's Bounce. Samix takes a shockwave to the face, but there's not enough damage yet. Ace in the hole, channel blocked All of a sudden, Vander, he's eating everybody's ace in the hole.
Oh!
Cabo Shard unable to kill Exile. But Exile losing the 1v1, we didn't quite see how that played out.
Yeah, two not quite successful engages. One from the Unicorns in mid lane. They bounce onto Vander. Couldn't quite get the kill, who's kind of tanky already, but it's still quite early on. Interesting to see the Unicorns actually looking for these set plays where they're coming in from the two angles with the Zac, with the Thresh. I want to see more of this from them. But Cabo Shard having a much better game here on the Gragas than the Kled we saw in game number 1.
Yes, Vizichachi, his Galio is still scaling up. He's got Abyssal Scepter as his first item. Obviously changed recently, but I also want to bring our attention to the AD carries again. Samux, of course, using those ace in the holes, unable to find his target. But Samux took off after 15 minutes in the previous game.
Right.
He was protected, the team comp was built around him. Steelback, unfortunately, didn't get a lot of chance as the game fell apart around him, but you can see they're at 15 CS, pretty close. Just the damage per minute as the game rolls out.
And they were utilized in two different ways. Steelback was out on the side lane, gathering a lot of farm, whereas Samux was pushing mid, trying to deny a lot of that presence from the Rift Herald. But this time, it's Samux in mid once again, whereas Steelback again side lane. So it is similar to game number 1 as Unicorns want to push him from mid tower.
They are indeed. There's no support yet. Joker's going to come in from behind. Teleport's not available for Cabo. Hilly's going to take an auto to the face. Xerxes
4 versus 2 if they go on this.
decides not to pull the trigger yet. Let's bounce, just about to become available.
One thing I want to talk about as we head towards a fight, I don't think I'm going to have time, it's just that Essence Reaver, when built, will have better late game damage than the Blade build that we've seen. But there against the Caitlyn, here comes the fight.
Charge it up! He looks for the stretching strike, but misses! That's a gobbledygook as Vander runs with Nuke Duck in his belly, spits him out to safety, and the big fight's yet to break out. Stress.
Which of his abilities is a gobbledygook? Just for clarity's sense, I'm just trying to check.
You see, I went with Goop because there was a Zac in the middle as well.
See, that's what confused me for a second, man. I'm just looking for clarity.
Okay, I'll clean it up. I'll clean it up, all right? Devour into Nuke Duck saved his life. I'm so sad that stretching strike missed. Unicorn still waiting for that explosive fight as they maintain the small lead. But the game is not out of Vitality's hands yet. We didn't see the same sort of miscommunications in plays. Look at the mini-map. That's a flash body slam. Samux running away. Lantern from Hilly's in a good spot. Xerxes catches Cabo and escapes.
Okay, praise on Xerxes. Blocks the body slam flash, then realizes you can't crowd control me while I channel Let's Bounce, so I'm getting away from this. Samux is safe. That was pretty nicely done out from Xerxes.
Reworked Zac is officially the goofiest looking champion on the Rift.
You saw
he has overtaken Ivern. No, because you see, Pugmore's just a bit silly. He's not goofy or cute or weird. Looking at like Zac's Q and Zac's R, it's just so weird.
The voice is great though. When he gets really tiny and he runs like this. Have you ever played against the Zac that you just can't kill, but he's running around laughing at you forever?
I have many times. It's lost me a lot of LP stress.
No, I think that was because you were trying to learn Xayah for a while.
Yeah, it didn't go well.
You needed to find Rakan. That was the problem.
Couldn't find my Rakan in solo queue. I know it is. I tried to go for it. Didn't work out. But the Unicorns of Vitality, the problem is, every time a fight breaks out, there's enough disengage in like life-saving tools between, you know, Vander's Devour, come on, Protect from Nuke Duck, Xerxes on his Zac, despite having a 50 CS advantage over at Joko. I need to have a look at exactly how much gold that equates to. But as it stands, just doing a good job of being with his team, and I think Unicorn's pretty happy to continue scaling. Stress.
It's an underwhelming 200 gold.
Oh, okay.
Between the two. It looks impressive, as you said. But Joker's been doing a decent job himself. As, at least he got that kill, so it makes up some of the difference between the two. It's been a bit of a slower game than the first one, perhaps. Unicorns, of course, with a very low game time at the end of it. One Baron buff pretty much ended the game for him.
Yeah, really well played. Unicorns just flew ahead. Chachi might need to fly. It's the shield of Durant. Justice Punch is flashed away from, and he rides the lane to the
We
safety.
haven't yet seen the play you were talking about, the Mimic LeBlanc or the Zac going in before the Galio ult. Well, you've got to be careful around mid lane. This is where Zac and Galio love to fight.
They do indeed. Elastic Slingshot being charged up on the right-hand side. Vizichachi doesn't fire. The flash taunt. There goes Let's Bounce, and Xerxes needs to get out to safety. Unicorns, they get the tower. They get a 2,000 gold lead. But once again, a sub-optimal engage.
Yeah.
Flashes up for Xerxes. Cabo may need to look for him.
That didn't quite hit the mark. Exile's on a ward, although, it's a ward off to the side. The control ward for himself. Vitality are doing a good job of pushing Unicorns away from the Rift Herald here off that exchange in mid lane. They know that with the Let's Bounce down, the engage is a lot less impactful than potentially could be out of Xerxes.
Yeah, and slight misspeak from me earlier. I said Xerxes, I meant Samus. Regardless, a minute to go before Rift Herald passes back into the ether, and Vitality are grouping up all the way around. No support yet.
Yep.
Hylissang's going to make his way up. May just spot it going down. Right, do not think it's worth engaging 1v5. Hylissang says, nope, you are quite wrong. Catches Vander with a death sentence, shield of Duran. Flash engage!
Xerxes!
Here comes Xerxes! Shockwave catches on the back end. Xerxes looking for a target. Let's Bounce still on cooldown. Doesn't matter. Exile's got the kill. Samix gets another. The play for days from Hylissang. A heroic entrance to close the door on Vitality. That's the third of the fight before Hylissang goes down. Cabo shot sends his regards with the explosive cast before he's forced to burp and run away. Gets caught by the stretching strike and Steelback running low on mana. His Essence Reaver not keeping him topped up.
Exile's
Another
back.
taunt comes down. Exile's looking for the kill. Steelback continues to chase forward, and Unicorns 1 for 3 fights.
Yeah, 1 for 3. It looked like it should have been more from the Unicorns, but until Exile was back in the fight, there was no real way of them dealing out enough damage. They have to be careful of a counter engage here. Pings in the top lane
They don't know
from
he's there. They
Cabochard.
don't know he's there, and Exile escapes.
But here comes Cabochard. This is the real danger.
All right, Xerxes going to be forced to jump away. No flash for Vizichachi. Shield of Durandal by a few seconds of time as a Justice Punch catches the Tom Kench in the gut. Vizichachi goes down, and Vitality, they at least get themselves a backup kill, and it goes to Nukta.
Now, summon the Rift Herald in the top lane. It's the best play Vitality can make at this point because Samix had shoved mid out already. That's actually what has happened during the live engage, and Unicorns are looking to fight to actually disengage this. In the live picture, Unicorns are fighting Vitality.
We've already jumped back out. The Devour, not enough to save Nukedex. Like Exile's in trouble. He's going to need the distortion soon. Flash has already been used. Distorts forward, can distort backwards by a few extra seconds, decides not to. He manages to escape. Xerxes, Samix, Hylissang, shut down Joko, and Exile is still alive. Death Sentence finds out Cabochard. The Unicorns have phenomenal team fights. Joko is able to take down the tower thanks to the help of the Rift Herald, but it's Vizichachi killing, cleaning up, shutting down Vitality for the ace.
Vitality with the Rift Herald unable to make it work for them once again because Unicorns have a good defensive set of fights, and now what's Rift Herald to the bigger brother of Baron Nashor right now as Unicorns, they're going to be able to take it down. That was a clean ace. Vitality, I love that they threw whatever they could at the Unicorns to try and make that Rift Herald play work, but in the end, Unicorns team fighting way too strong, and again the Unicorns coming out significantly further ahead.
Just a really good mid-game from UOL. They understand their team comp, they understand their opponents, and here's this replay that started while we were in a replay.
Yeah, this was the engage that Unicorns managed to get back into at least a fighting stance against Vitality as they were looking for the top side. That chase and killing Chachi took so long that the Unicorns of Love were already back and ready to fight. Then Recall got back together, and Samix is able to just output so much damage here. Joko unfortunately pushed back onto a trap there, able to take him down with ease, and then Chachi says, hey, I'm back. I TP'd in, I'm Galio, I'm unkillable. This is why you shouldn't have let me have him in the draft. You banned the Shen, didn't matter. Easy team fighting tank. Chachi making it look so good.
Yeah, the whole team just stepping up. 21.5 minute Baron buff. Unicorns have a 6,000 gold lead. And Steelback's Xayah just hasn't had a chance to scale. Only on a Zeal and Essence Reaver. Samix, on the other hand, about to finish his second Zeal. to go along with the Hurricane and the Infinity Edge. And just, there's no threat. Samex is so safe in all of these fights.
And honestly, I feel like this is a position Vitality shouldn't have put themselves in. They should have taken the Galio, in my opinion, in the draft where they took Tahm Kench. It would have forced Chachi to give up a good matchup in favor of getting this Caitlyn in the bottom lane. And Vitality pick up the Tahm Kench, they allow the Galio through, and suddenly they're saying, oh, how do we kill Chachi? He's too much of a front line. Oh, Exile and Samex, they've killed us because they have so much room. Not anymore. Exile's dead.
All right, didn't quite see how that one sets up. I don't know if Exile was trying to go for a play. I don't know. Regardless, Unicorns get the tower, and Steelback gets a kill onto Exile. Xerxes waddles himself away. Abyssal Voyage is going to at least deliver Cabo Shard. Samex, no flash available. Going to rely on that 90 caliber net. Even cheekily. Gets himself an auto attack off, stretching strike onto it. Now Kiss is what he yells. Xerxes waiting to wind up on the let's bounce. Vander forced to run for his life. Hilly comes over the wall with the flash. Where's the death sentence?
Let's bounce!
Let's bounce, baby! Samex gets another onto Nuke Duck. Taunt up in the back end, and Visit Chachi's not done yet. Xerxes sent packing by the explosive cask, and Unicorns do another.
And Exile's coming back again. TP into the exchange means that he's looking for the kill that started this entire thing off. Unicorns can just push the bottom tower through now, and then it's going to be the inhibitor. Again, this is the same thing as game number one, where Vitality looked to have some sense of fight in the early game, and maybe against a different team, they'd be able to carry the lead through. But Unicorns' team fighting is immaculate today, and this has looked so good.
Indeed. Mirror games with Vitality doing a great job early on, but just this. 1, 2, now Kiss, and then Unicorns finished up.
The elastic slingshots here out of Xerxes. Gets one here, is able to at least get one target and zone back Joko. Gets the let's bounce through. Okay, that looks okay. He's used his full combo, surely. Oh no! There's another elastic slingshot that's available. This is one of the reasons why Zach is so strong, is his impact in team fights is so difficult to shut out in the early game, that without putting more pressure on him than Vitality did at the beginning of this game, it's almost impossible to take full control of the game.
Yeah, I absolutely love the confidence that Unicorns are playing with. No fear, no regard, fully understanding all stages of the game. So much so that Visit Chachi's got himself a Magi Soul Stealer on his top lane Galio. As if he wasn't obnoxious enough already.
Also, going for a completely different build to everybody else. Everybody else has been going Abyssal, into more tank, you get yourself a Stone Plate in there. No, Iceborne Gauntlet wants to be able to duel down. Unicorns are going to look for 2 kills.
Look at that, the Shockwave catches 2, but Exile gets the kill. Ace in the hole will shut down Cabo Shard. And Samex is dominating 6, 0, and 4. Joko tries some collateral damage, but the collateral is his teammates.
Yeah.
Actually, am I reading that right? Is that 6 or 16? I need to double check how many stacks that is. I can't see on the font.
I believe it's 6.
It is 6. It is 6.
Okay, he must have bought it recently. I didn't see when he actually picked it up.
Oh, just Unicorns. Great play.
Yeah, I mean, Vitality, this game looks out of reach for them at this point, because Unicorns of Love, they have team fought so cleanly with this composition that, again, is built for team fighting. And with the adjustments to tanks in the mid-season, so many of these picks actually benefit a team like the Unicorns, who are comfortable at fighting, comfortable at giving maybe early leads up, but coming back into the game when it suits them. And it's a very, very long summer split until Worlds, but if this is how the Unicorns are going to start it out, I'm excited to see how far they can go.
Indeed. Xerxes was channeling up the elastic slingshot, decided not to jump in. Exile's going to get out of range of the barrel roll, because in the middle lane, Unicorns are going to knock over this third inhibitor.
Vander just used his ult into the top lane and has to recall out, because Vitality can't find any exchanges that can go their favor, and Unicorn's second inhib now is down. Third inhib, excuse me, the bot lane was already taken. Unicorn's going to look to close this with one more fight.
Yeah, they are. Stretching strike catches on Cabo Shard. He tries to flash away, was pulled backwards. Shockwave catches down onto Exile, and he's shut down by the collateral damage. It's Samex that cleans up Nuke Duck on the back end. Now Visit Chachi with those stacks on his Soul Stealer, looking at finishing up. There's 3 inhibitors down, and all for the style points now. Unicorns of Love already taking one of those Nexus turrets down. Let's see, Cabo, no ultimate to speak of. Zaya's doing the best to
He
defend.
goes.
Xerxes jumps in, lets bounces available, goes flat, brings back steal back, and Vanda gets knocked up by the heroic entrance. Xerxes re-engages once more, gets yet another kill. Vanda killed off by Hillisang. The super minions are pouring into the base stress, and Unicorns of Love, they're just looking fantastic to start open the summer split. It's not done yet. Another one for Vizichachi. 14 stacks on the Magi's, and Unicorns 2-0 Vitality.
The most prepared Unicorns, we said at the beginning of this series, and preparation paid off. Because that was a very clean series against a revamped Vitality roster that did have some more bite at the beginning. I liked what they were bringing to the table, but it wasn't enough to face off against the Unicorns.
Just so you're aware, Ramar has stolen the head from the wall of our studio. It was hanging up in the coach's room, and he's liberated it for the cheer.
I feel like we have to give less props when the Unicorns are around. They're bringing their own. They got hats. They got like Furby unicorn things.
And I don't want to, I don't want to ham up the Vitality performance. They struggled in the mid game.
Yeah.
But their early game, their laning phase, their decision making was pretty good. It got them first blood, got them a couple of first objectives. It's the next steps where they've got to clean up their play. But unfortunately, against what is arguably the best team in Europe right now, because they kept the same. They've been boot camping. They've been to Korea. In theory,
the best week one team. Yeah, that's a fair statement.
Sweeping statements. That's what I'm all about. I'm all about stress.
Still got to see two more teams, but I think you can call it that for now.
Very quickly, of course, we saw both Joko and Steelback hugging a couple of the members of UOL. Vizichachi and Hilly in particular. Yeah. As we mentioned, that storyline, the guys, they played together on a team once upon a time. And now they got stomped by UOL, who just looked great.
Unicorns team fighting looks on point, and it's actually a really interesting prospect now. H2K look to be back on form themselves. That's a real nail biter. We've got Fnatic, they're on a good performance over in Group A. I think this could be one of the most competitive top of each groups we've seen here.
I mean, we hope so, right? Yeah. We hope so, and time will tell. I was speaking to Mithy a little bit earlier and said, what do you think of the squads? And Mithy's like, well, it depends on how well the teams adapt over the next 10 weeks.
It is for sure to say, though, that gone are the times when people would, tweet or whatever saying, oh, Unicorns, do we really want them representing our region? I want team fighting like that representing us, because Unicorns look very, very strong, consistent, solid as a unit. That must be terrifying around the house.
Oh, yes.
If Romain is like trying to scare you into practice certain things.
Yes, indeed. And well, no pressure on the Unicorns team now, as we mentioned many times today. Let's see how well they can continue to perform throughout the course of the split. That does it for us here on the cast today. So we head over to Shox and the guys to take away the post-game lobby.
Thank you so much, Trevor. Indeed, welcome to the post-game lobby. Well, completely full of analysis, laughter, jokes, Telestrator segments, recaps,
you just spoiled it?
Spoilers. Interviews, so many interesting things. And we're going to start by breaking down the second game and also the series overall of the Unicorns of Love taking on Vitality. As said from game one, the Unicorns of Love just picked right back up where they left off in the spring split, also in the results versus Vitality. And Vitality just didn't have a lot of chances at all in the series.
Nope, two one-sided games, and I think game two, it all started in the pick and ban phase. I think Sheepy came in with such a good plan, and he completely out-drafted Yamato Cannon here. The cool thing to look at is the very first picks, where you have Zac, Thresh, and Xayah, all three available. And this is because Vitality banned Braum to first pick Thresh, and they expected Xayah to be banned by Unicorns. Unicorns are like, nah, you know what? There are 3 S-tier picks now. We can just trade. We get 2, you get 1. And Vitality felt forced to take the Xayah as an early pick, with Caitlyn also open as a counter pick against it. So not only did Thresh and Zac go over to Unicorns, they also got the best AD carry against Xayah as well. They literally got everything.
Yeah.
And bear in mind that third ban was a Rakan too. So even if Vitality say, oh yeah, we'll get Xayah and Rakan, Unicorns of Love were saying, well, you can have Xayah, but we're going to take a lot more in exchange for that. It was a very impressive draft. And at every single point, it seemed that Unicorns of Love had the answer, getting the Galio later on too to just facilitate the composition, and then getting Exile on a comfort pick in the middle lane. It just felt like a very well-drafted Unicorns of Love comp.
And we got to see why Zach is perm banned.
Did we though?
I think we saw enough big Zach plays in this game. Just show like how hard it is to play against him. He can engage almost from anywhere, and if he actually lands onto you, well, the amount of CC he brings and his own ulti is so good in fights.
And this, after game 1, I thought, is this where Unicorns of Love take over the game again? And it did happen.
Shux did actually say, she did actually say, as soon as Vitality went for Rift Herald, I'm like, game is over now. Literally 30 seconds
Yeah,
after.
but Exile actually had a fantastic flank. We got to point that out.
I mean, I think the team fighting overall was just great from Unicorns of Love. I think that it's something that we praised them for in the past, and they've continued to maintain that level of play. And really, once they've gotten the ban, things just continue to get from bad to worse.
Yeah, and I actually just think Vitality couldn't really win with their draft here. Like, they had to so outplay Unicorns of Love, because in these fights, Xayah is a low-range AD carry, dealing with Galio, Zac in her face, and she also went Essence Reaver.
Yeah.
So she didn't even build to kill the tanks. And it was just almost impossible for Unicorns of Love to lose these big fights with their draft, and how they just managed to get fantastic early picks in the first phase that won them the entire thing.
Because we thought that maybe if Vitality went for like a carry in the top lane, that could be an avenue, because if you snowball against the Galio, you can then play towards a side lane and you have at least some kind of way back into the game. But then they lock in the Gragas and you think, okay, well now Gragas is not going to be the champion that wins this game for you. You have an Orianna and the Xayah, and just comes back to the points that you were saying, like these low in mobility champions versus the Galio and a Zac. You're just asking for disaster.
Yeah, we see it there. Exile, we were calling him out a bit, saying, well, what, and truthfully so, didn't have the best performance versus Perkz in the finals, but in this first series back in Summer Split, he is definitely on form. Immediately did get his hands on the LeBlanc in game 2 and get a great team playing around them, but, you know, that's what we want to see from him. This is also his split. That's where there's room for improvement still for the Unicorns of Love.
Of course, and that's the kind of stuff we want to see from Unicorns as a team and him individually, because we knew they just came from a good spring split into a boot camp into now this split against a lineup who made changes in Vitality. So obviously, not really a big surprise that the Unicorns of Love will 2-0 here, and both games 28 minutes, both games just broke wide open in like one team fight, and that's all they needed to win the series.
For sure, and the Unicorns of Love indeed great, off to a great start in the Summer Split, and we're going to send it over to Quickshot for a word with their top laner and their jungler.
Thank you very much. I'm joined here as we kick off the interview with Spring Split MVP and Spring Split Rookie of the Split, who just had a phenomenal performance. Xerxes, you didn't win Player of the Series. I thought you deserved it for Zac. It was Exile. Did he deserve Player of the Series?
To be completely fair, I don't think he deserved it.
Oh, so who deserved
my
it?
Zac was exceptional.
What was it like playing Zac on stage, and what was it like playing against Vitality? It felt like, despite losing early, you guys were never really under threat.
Maybe in the first game we lost the early game, but we had a better team comp, and playing Zac right now is like the most broken champion, obviously, and like I don't see any counterplay to this broken thing, and so yeah, it was pretty easy to play.
It definitely looked that way. Vizichachi, how was the games for yourself? Obviously the Sheer and the Galio, it didn't really feel like you had a lot of pressure on you.
Yes, I think blind picking tanks is kind of pretty safe for top lane right now, because there is like not many counters. And Vitality banned Fiora themselves, so it was like a free route for Galio, which I felt like would fit our team comp really well. So I liked that I was put on these champions.
Yeah, it definitely looked that way. Gigantic smiles on your faces all game long. Vizichachi, let's talk a little bit about the meta. We'll step away. How are you enjoying 7.10? How are you enjoying? I saw some tweets. Irelia works in Korea, doesn't work here. So what's it like playing two different regions, playing in this meta, sort of the same patch, but different players, different regions?
I think the Korean solo queue was way more quality than the EU West one, and I'm kind of missing it, but I feel like you can still practice in the EU West solo queue as well, with the right mindset if you are like focusing on practicing and not on your teammates. Other than that, I think the meta is pretty wide right now. I'm playing like 8 or 9 champions as well, so you have like a lot of blind pickable champions and counter picks as well.
Yeah, it's very entertaining and very interesting, especially for some of the jungle champions, a lot of the top lane. Xerxes, what was the bootcamp like? What was playing over on the Korean server and spending a lot of time with the Rocks Tigers like we saw you guys publicizing?
It was a really fun and unique experience, like playing with 7 ping and with all those LCK players, and everyone is tryharding for their life was really nice.
How important is it, that experience, you know, as a team, training and whatnot, looking forward to the Summer Split?
I think it's important to like bond with the team and get more experience together, so we can have a chance against G2.
Have a chance against G2. Okay, that's a big statement. Vizicachi, got a few more questions for you guys before we head back to the analyst desk. Let's look forward. There's probably more expectation on this Unicorns of Love than there ever has been. A lot of statements, best spring split, same 5 players. It's only the second time the team's ever done that between splits. What does that feel like with so much faith and so many fans looking up to you and the team?
I think it puts a bit more pressure on us. However, I think this is more like a motivating thing than something that would discourage us, because we have so many fans behind us that are cheering for us game by game. So it rather motivates us and pushes us forward, and I think we will challenge G2 again for the title this split.
Challenge G2. What about some of the rest of the teams? I asked Mithy a little bit earlier today. Obviously, G2 not in the best scrimming habits at the moment. What's your opinion on the current strength of EU? Has it gotten stronger from spring?
I think Fnatic is looking really strong as well. They're probably around the same level as G2, and I expect them to fight a lot for the first place in Group A. Other than that, I think we 3 are the top teams, and the rest we will see how they can catch up.
Interesting, interesting. One last question. Xerxes, you guys second in spring, boot camp in Korea. Will you and the Unicorns of Love go to Worlds this year?
For sure.
And on that note, we're going to head back up to the post-game lobby with Shocks and the boys.
Yeah, thank you very much, Quick Shot. Well, I love to hear that from them. They have to be confident. They have all right to be confident, especially since winning their first series so handily. I do want to kind of... Did you have anything? I thought you just wanted to add it.
I was nodding, saying I agree with you, Shocks.
Yeah,
the point you're making right now.
I just wanted to kind of wrap up the series and touching on Vitality maybe, because obviously this wasn't the best showing from them. They do have a new coach, they do have a new player, so it is to be expected that they hit the ground running a bit. They have to figure themselves out. But again, same footnote as I made with the Roccat performance. You want it to be a bit better, even if you're kind of... I don't mean this to flame, but you do want it to be a bit better and that you can show a bit more in those
I think it's important to remember, though, that Unicorns of Love are also coming off of a big momentum train, right? Like, making it to the finals of Spring Split, maintaining the roster. They don't necessarily have the same sort of problems that Vitality has as a new roster, with a new coaching staff behind them, with a new environment. I think that there are more things that Vitality need to develop in terms of their core that UOL already have. So being able to try and challenge that kind of level of a team right now, I think they did pretty well in game 1, and I think they still have a long split to develop these things.
I mean, I still wanted to see a bit more. Like, I always talk about how this off-season, these teams have had multiple weeks to prepare for a week 1. And I'm hoping to see them come in with maybe something unique in a pick and ban phase, or have something that's really working well for them in the game. Like, the first 5 minutes is not enough. I want to see then maybe some good team fighting, or hey, there was actually some pretty decent macro. They used the Rift held well. Like, all these things kind of fell apart for Vitality very quickly. And then, of course, the draft in the second game where they just got completely outdrafted. So obviously, it's hard against Unicorns.
Yeah.
I'm not going to judge Vitality based on this one series, but same as with Roccat, I was hoping to see a little bit more for a lineup that's been preparing for this week 1 for now a few weeks.
Yeah, especially when we touch on kind of the mental aspect of the Unicorns of Love. Everyone's expecting so much from them, and it's kind of propelling them forward. On the other side, a team like Vitality, who people have expected so much from, or every time giving them that hope again when the splits have started, but they've never really been able to fill it in recent history. So that much also start to weigh on the players. Like this, you know, when's it going to happen?
My counter argument to that idea is very much that UOL have been prepping super hard too, right? So when you have these 2 prep teams, you actually see the gap in terms of their preparation and the things that they had planned and come in prepared. And to me, it just felt like that. I don't think Vitality were underprepared coming into this split. I just think that UOL were in a position where they looked extremely prepared and ready for a match. Like, because we looked at that draft, right? They seem to have that down, and they understand what is strong, what they play extremely well. And as a team, they seem on top of their game.
And the gap in preparation was not an issue in G2 versus Roccat, because G2 had basically thrown together a team. They played with 2 subs initially already for Trick and Expect, and then Perks unfortunately fell sick, so Blanc had to sub in. So Roccat, wow, even with the loss of bans for G2, this was the best possible scenario for them.
Or maybe the worst.
Or the worst.
Because now they're losing, and it just puts so much pressure on Roccat. Like, game 1, Rakan and Xayah were like the reason they won that series. Obviously, G2 realized that and just removed Rakan in the following series. And Game 2 and Game 3 were actually extremely one-sided in favor of G2 Esports. And the thing Dragos and I noted in the cast was that the 3 subs, so mid lane, jungle, and top lane, actually outplayed Betsy, Foxy, and Pride Stalker on the side of Rocket. 3 guys who are not actually in the LCS and have not scrimmed a lot with this team managed to do better than Rocket's top side. And that was something that really made me kind of concerned. I know it's only week 1, but that should not have happened.
No, it shouldn't have. And for the players, well, just also for the individual players when they take a step back now. Lulexendo and Monk, awesome, great experience, kind of great praise, winning for
on
G2.
their resume, right? Just like won a game for G2 Esports,
Lost
best
every other
team in
game.
Europe.
Yeah, no, indeed, no, but that's fantastic for G2, and I almost feel like next week when everyone's back, they'll be like, imagine if we lose with all our original members back. And you said Fnatic might beat them, so.
Yeah, I think their game next week with Fnatic versus G2 is going to be insane because I think Fnatic will come in much better form, much better prepared as well compared to G2, who's now finally getting, you know, the full roster back. But they're barely scrimmed with this roster since MSI. Things have changed a bit in the game, and also you gotta catch back up.
Yeah, you do. A lot of changes so far, and some changes in lineups we've seen so far, and tomorrow will be no exception. A lot of new players on the board. Dragos is here for the full breakdown.
Thank you very much, Shox. This summer, we have 2 teams joining the European LCS. Newcomers from Germany's Meisterschaft League, Mysterious Monkeys, and after a long hiatus from competitive league, Ninjas in Pajamas return to the LCS. They take the stage tomorrow, but let's take a chance now to get a quick overview of each squad. Let's start with Ninjas in Pajamas, a long-standing Swedish organization who purchased the Fnatic Academy slot following the promotion tournament and has put together an entirely new roster for the start of the summer split, featuring some brand new Korean imports. Let's get right into it. In the top lane, a former member of SKT Profit, the veteran European jungler Shook, old school Season 3 World Championship contender. Some of you may know him. He's a master of assassins. It's Nagne, former Giants AD carry Hikyu, and rounding out their roster is their support Spraddle. Now, there's a lot to be said about this new roster, a lot of opinions to be shared, but to keep this short and sweet, let's take a look at who I believe is the player to watch. And of course, former members of SKT just aren't easy to get your hands on these days. So it's no surprise that we're keeping our eyes on Profit. He's subbing in for Huni 9 times over the course of the LCK Spring Split, and he's an incredibly reliable player who made the meta work for him with picks like Nautilus and Rumble when he was playing in the LCK, but his history in the LSPL shows his roots as a carry top laner with an incredible proficiency for Fiora, and we're going to find out whether or not he'll be the carry top laner his team needs, or maybe a tank to support the rest of the squad as he battles it out against Soaz and Fnatic in our second series this Saturday. Now, onto the opposite side, the Mysterious Monkeys. This German org is a newcomer to the LCS with a history of success in ESL Meisterschaft. And while NIP has opted to field a completely new roster, Mysterious Monkeys have kept 5 of the players from the Misfits Academy lineup that qualified through the promotion tournament. Let's take a look. In the top lane, it's going to be Jisoo. Jungle is Llama Bear. Mid lane is Cosq, AD carry Yuki 60. Support Dreams. And of course, all of these players are going to be coming from our own European Challenger Series. But if there's one player you should know, it is their man in the mid lane, Cosq. He's a solo queue, Katarina god, and a Kali king. He is the type of player who can go off early game and end a game entirely on a whim. And in the promotion tournament, he reigns supreme, showing some incredible performances on picks like Syndra, Katarina, Orianna, and more. And if Cosq is looking for a chance to prove himself, he's going to get it as he has to go toe-to-toe with H2K's Febevent in his first match. You can catch both of these teams on stage this Saturday starting at 5 p.m. Central European Summertime as the Mysterious Monkeys take on H2K. I'm Daniel Dragos telling you to set your alarms because it's going to be bananas.
B-A-N-A-N-A-S. Yes, okay. There we go. Yeah, fantastic. One thing about that, obviously, Mysterious Monkeys, Llama Bear is there for Pride Stalker. Had some experience before. And the NIP rosters where we highlight Profit. Let's start by talking about NIP. I gotta come to you first, of course. Deficio, once upon a time on the NIP roster, so you know everything about this organization.
Yeah, all I'm gonna say is last time NIP actually won a game in the LCS, it was me and Björkson on that roster. And then stuff happened and they actually never managed to make it back
Definitely about you
in.
and not about the Danish one.
It was totally not about Björkson, who obviously became some player in North America.
Yeah.
Anyway, point is, it's Season 3. That's a long time ago. Now the organization obviously is back, and I think it's a really good organization to be with. Like, they support the teams a lot, so the infrastructure should be decent around these guys. But obviously when you are NIP and you feel a completely new roster, it's kind of like survive in the summer split and then look forward to 2018. That should be the big mission for these guys. But they're in a very tough group as well. And they need to show something early on.
Yeah, let's not beat around the bush. We're always like highlighting Profit and obviously the ex-SKT member rather, but the lineup is not something that is, that impresses you straight off the bat.
No, when you look at the bottom line in particular of NIP, you have to remember that Hiku from Giant, Sparrow from PSG, they're not exactly names that you remember from last split. They're not the names that made stand out and you're like, oh, this was the highlight individual that really carried that team. And while sure, they certainly had good performances and they were able to contribute to their team, they're not the memorable bottom lane duo that you think can really carry that lineup. And when you think about some of the stars that they will be going up against, you have to wonder how will they be able to hold their own, especially in Group A.
Yeah, I think for NIP, like the bot lane needs to survive, and Nagne in the mid lane is a man I have a million questions about.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Nagne has done anything worth mentioning for the last few years, and I don't even think like at his peak he was that great of a mid laner. So I have a lot of questions about him and his performance. I think it's Shook and Profit who needs to carry everything, and obviously Profit can't do it on his own, and Shook, when he was in the LCS last on Vitality, did have a lot of success focusing the top lane. It was Coppershot back then. He can try and do the same with Profit in this meta. That might be a way for NIP to really win some games.
Yeah, a lot of question marks. We'll see tomorrow they're up against Fnatic. When we talk about possible star quality and people that can draw much attention and do a lot in these games, when we look at the Mysterious Monkeys roster, which of course is the same for Misfits Academy for the most part, Cosq, that is someone that you're like, oh, this is a guy that could pop off and do certain things in the game. And it just seems like, although it will still be difficult for them, they're getting off to a great start with that same roster.
The cool thing about Mysterious Monkeys is they do have a fair number of playmakers. In the middle lane, they have Cosq. A lot of people may not have heard of Jisoo, but he's known for playing these off tanks too. And when during the Challenger Series, they actually surprised a lot of people. Very low expectations were put on them during the regular season, during playoffs, and during the promotion tournament. And every single time, this team was able to surprise. Now, obviously, they did have Pride Stalker back then, and now they are bringing on Llama Bear. For those that don't know, the last time we saw Llama Bear was actually on the Misfits lineup when they were playing in the promotion tournament to qualify, and he came in alongside Wisdom, and he did not have the best performances on his Nidalee.
Yeah, they subbed him out after they actually lost to Origin in the first promo game, and then Wisdom played the last one. And back then, I remember them talking about how Llama Bear on stage didn't perform too well compared to Scrims. That's obviously something to track now, because you need a good jungler in this meta. He's the kind of guy who's like very famous for his Nidalee, which of course is like not the meta pick, but it's decent. You can play it if they want to try and play some comfort picks here. And I think Mysterious Monkeys, I believe more in them right now than this completely new NIP roster, just due to also that former synergy we already know is there from these guys. And I think actually Mysterious Monkeys can be annoying to play against for some of these LCS teams.
Yeah, and we should certainly also look at it in the context of the groups that these teams find themselves in, and we can also look at the standings after the first 2 days here in the summer split and how things are shaping up. And then you look at Mysterious Monkeys, who find themselves in a group where Splice and Vitality have not managed to impress us so far, even though it was only one series. I'm so sick of saying that. I'm just going to say what I mean, which is they didn't impress us so far, as well as the Ninjas in Pajamas, who didn't find themselves, well, actually, those teams have also not shown that much, but you feel like Misfits can ramp up to be a bit more.
Yeah, you definitely feel like Misfits will bounce back with Maxwell, and once they get a bit more time. Rocket kind of the same with Pride Stalker, but yeah, there are definitely some teams that these guys are looking towards, because I think for both NIP, as I said earlier, and Mysterious Monkeys, it's about surviving in the summer split. Like, it's a very competitive top field we have, and the goal doesn't have to be make playoffs and maybe worlds. It can just be make sure you're here for 2018 and you've had now, more time to really figure out if this is the correct roster and everything you need to make a better team.
And while there are a lot of question marks around the new teams, what we don't have question marks around are our top four.
Absolutely.
Unicorns of Love, Fnatic, H2K, and G2, they all seem to be, excluding maybe G2, to be in a good spot right now, right? But it's exciting for me as an analyst to see that Europe has four top teams right now. The fact that G2 are currently right now considered the top dogs, but with three very quickly catching up to them and willing to challenge them for that throne. I think that leads for some very exciting games in the next few weeks.
Hey, G2, they made it to the final at MSI. They took a game off SKT. H2K, Fnatic, and UOL are looking just as strong. We got this in the bag for 2017. Yeah.
So we're going to win Worlds, or?
Oh, at least three teams in the top four.
Hey, I said that in an interview, and I had to correct it very quickly to maybe one team.
No, in any case, it's been fun, though, so far. It's been good. We had some fun games in terms of meta development. We said it, and we had the top teams looking extremely good and a lot of room for improvement in the bottom team. So
yeah, I mean, I think the meta's been looking somewhat predictable. Like, we haven't seen big splashes where we're like, wow, we didn't think this champion would be played at all. It's been like, yeah, we know all these top lane carries. We know, of course, Thresh would be huge in the bottom lane, and that's exactly what we've seen so far.
You know all these top lane carries because you're the prediction god, Mr. Deficio. But
I don't know. I watched your cast with Captain Powers.
To the average viewer, I feel like that there is still a lot of diversification in terms of what we're seeing in the top lane, right? We're seeing so much variation, and for me, that's what makes the current meta very interesting, especially with the different AD carries that we're seeing in the different build paths. I think that there is a lot more in the meta right now, even though the playstyle and the goals are still very much the same.
I want to see more mid laners and junglers.
Yeah, I want more mid laners.
Less Syndra or Iana. I know they're really good, but they're not that fun to watch every game. Like, where's my Kassadin? Where's my Zed?
Yes.
Give me some of those picks as well.
All right, we'll see if we see that tomorrow because we still have another day to go. But for now, it is time for us to log off for the night. Thank you so much for watching. We will be back tomorrow as we close out week 1 season.
Today is a battle of the gods. Roccat versus G2, the ultimate clash of the best in Europe.
There we get to sync up recalls. I actually like the fact you can just kill the last few minutes and then step together. It's so beautiful. They're gone.
7 seconds saved, ladies and gentlemen.
Sinks the fangs in. Vitality trading damage back and forth. It's still back with the kill.
Constantly looking for the engages. He looks like he's going to find what Ignite does take down. Featherstorm up and available. Flash forward, pull back. There we go. The Blade Caller. First blood for the Xayah Rakan duo.
Everything available. Nuke Duck needs to nuke Hilly. Is that the shockwave? It's flash.
Etsy does not like Kha'Zix ganks. Nice sidestep on that. Now going to pull him back. Now it's Pride Stalker in trouble. Ignite's taking on Lulex, but it's not really going to make a difference. What goes up must come down.
Fuck, it's my bad.
That's a flash body slam. Samix running away. Lantern from Hilly's in a good spot. Sexy catches Cabo.
Blue's getting the double. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Looking to get a little more. That's the triple for Lulex. He wants to make it a quadra. Let's keep it up, folks. Let's follow him down. That's 4 kills.
It's a defense squad!
Let's say, Shockwave catches on the back end. Jersey's looking for a target. Let's bounce still on cooldown. Doesn't matter. Exile's got the kill. Samix gets another. The play for days from Hilliside. A heroic entrance to close the door.
The Blade Caller, Mithy, though, still gonna survive. Oh, kill. Damage out of nowhere.
Nice. With the death sentence. Heroic
let's bounce!
Bounce, baby! Samix gets another onto Nuke, and Unicorns outclass Vitality.
You want a moment to shine, you want a resume moment, it's going to be to steal the Baron, but you're not going to find it. In goes Blanc. G2 coming in clutch. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the 2-1 victory for G2, starting off on an undefeated season.
Unicorns of Love. They're just looking fantastic to start open the summer split. It's not done yet. Another one for Vizichachi. 14 stacks on the Magi's, and Unicorns 2-0 Vitality.
For sure.